What is up, guys? I have a great question answer today. This is commonly asked on my channel. This is asked in forums, in groups, or just in the world of panic attacks. Maybe you're asking each other. And a lot of times we ask this question not just out of curiosity, but we want to compare ourselves to somebody else. You know, we want to know, how long are your panic attacks? Because if your panic attacks are much shorter than mine, then I have some severe issues. I'm hopeless. I have no hope of overcoming this. Guys, everybody is different, so there isn't technically a right answer, but what I can do is give you an average and then tell you what I dealt with, okay? Now, usually after a panic attack starts, right when that adrenaline hits, right when it comes out of nowhere, usually your symptoms are gonna peak out at about 10 minutes. That's whenever your heart rate, your blood pressure, your physical, emotional, and mental symptoms are gonna be at the highest, okay? Now, this is just the average, and I'm sure they did some controlled study where they had a group of people who had panic problems. They probably hooked them up to a heart monitor, they did the EKG, they probably asked them questions on how they were feeling, their physical symptoms, how were they feeling mentally. They probably did a measure of their brain activity, brain waves, brain energy, whatever you would like to call that. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know the exact thing on how they measure the brain waves. But anyways, I'm assuming that they did an experiment like that, and this is what they came up with. So the actual average for a full-length panic attack is 20 to 30 minutes. Average. There are outliers. Some people can have it way shorter, some people can have it way longer, and I will get to that in a second. Now, they also say that it's rare that somebody has panic attacks lasting longer than an hour. And I'm assuming this is because probably they think that the adrenaline would eventually kind of start to taper off and run out. Well, little did I know, a weekend of drinking and bad decisions would lead to my first panic attack. Now, I suffered from panic disorder for 4 years. It led to health anxiety. Thought I had heart attacks, thought I had heart disease, cancer, everything in a book. This led to social anxiety, and then that led to depression, and I had this big whirlwind of mess. Long story short, 4 years later, I stopped having panic attacks. Pretty much 95% of the time. Over the next 2 years, I might have had 1 or 2 small panic attacks that I was able to control. And if I had to put a number on it right now, probably 3 years, 2.5, 3 years since I've had a panic attack, I believe. I've gotten anxious before, but you know, that just comes with being an anxious person. But anyways, my first panic attack was 6 hours long. 6 hours. It's crazy, right? I had all the symptoms. Physical, emotionally, I was a mess. Mentally, I was thinking irrational, depersonalization, derealization. I was hallucinating, for crying out loud. I had chest pains, tingling, numbness. I had palpitations. My heart rate was going over 200, I'm sure. And my blood pressure was skyrocketing. Later that morning, probably about 5 hours later, I had called my mom. She's a nurse. I didn't want to get an ambulance to pick me up. My father had a big meeting, I think, the next day, and I was living with him at the time. I didn't want to wake him up and freak him out in case I was mistaken for something. I had looked up the difference between a heart attack and panic attack, and the symptoms, I couldn't differentiate between them, so I thought I was having a heart attack, so I got her to come get me. She checked my vitals. My blood pressure was crazy, but we had both came to the conclusion that, hey, I wasn't dying of a 6-hour-long heart attack, that I was just having a panic attack, and it was crazy. I had chest pain for 2 weeks after that, so 6 hours I had a panic attack. That is completely nuts. Now, nowhere have I ever seen on any forum, any group, any comment section of a YouTube video, or any personal testimony from anybody that they had a panic attack that lasted 6 hours. This did so much damage to me mentally that first time that it threw me into this vicious cycle. So I was constantly having panic attacks after that. I was having panic attacks 5 to 10 times a day. How I had enough adrenaline for this, I have no idea. So this probably went on for about 2 to 3 years after that. My panic attacks would range anywhere, probably the shortest would be 30 minutes to about an hour and a half after that, and I would still have the occasional 2 or 3 hour long panic attack. I had them, they would just consume my whole day, because I'm talking about 5 to 10 of these a day. It's crazy. I would have these. Now, in that last year, I started to learn how to cope. I learned how to manage my panic disorder. So then I started having panic attacks that usually lasted about 20 minutes or less. And then probably that last 6 months, I didn't have a panic attack over 10 minutes. And eventually, I was able to stop a panic attack literally 10 to 15 seconds after the adrenaline in my stomach was squirted out. I could physically feel it happen. I was able to say, no, hold on, just let this hit you and then mellow out, chill out. I was able to do that. Now, of course, this took a long time. Like I said, I suffered for 4 years. So what did I do? I had to learn how to do this. So I, of course, had to exercise. I became an exercise warrior back then, guys. I'm nowhere near what I used to be, okay? I would have to exercise probably 3 times a day. It was like 3 days. I'm talking about to the point I was almost crying in pain from exercise. This kept me from having panic attacks pretty much all the time. All right, this is when my panic attacks were extremely short-lived to almost non-existent those last 6 months. So exercise is a huge deal. That combined with a powerful diet, guys, diet is gonna help you with your brain chemistry. So that being said, I think a diet and exercise alone is better than an antidepressant. It's natural, and you're able to face your problems, okay? You can actually fix the root cause, because during this you need to be meditating. You need to be doing deep thinking. You need to be writing down notes in your journal, whether that be your workouts, your diets, but also how you feel. What do you think caused your anxiety? Where did it start? You got to start figuring out what was the real root cause of your anxiety. Why did these panic attacks start? All right, also you need to figure out what your triggers are. Some triggers you're not going to be able to help. You might want to identify them, but you don't necessarily want to run from them, but you want to, come up with a plan of action on how to make that trigger not so bad. There are some triggers that you can get rid of. That's like caffeine, tobacco, alcohol, drugs. Those are things you need to do without, okay? Maybe unhealthy food. Heartburn can be a trigger for many. Well, heartburn's manageable, okay? And actually, look up apple cider vinegar and heartburn. You can actually go to my channel and find a video I did on that. I completely cured my heartburn by using apple cider vinegar. So just something to think about. Panic attacks, guys, you get caught up in this cycle. You have to be patient. It takes time. There's not no easy, simple fix. There isn't. It takes a lot of time and patience. The reason is because your subconscious is so locked on it. Like I said, I messed myself up so bad mentally. Fear went right up to the top of my subconscious's priorities, and it stayed there for years. It's hard to get that down. So even when you're feeling fine, even when you don't feel like you have anxiety or you're not stressed out, you're having a good day, your subconscious can send a message to your body and say, hey, I'm still stressed. I'm not fixed yet. Bam, here's a panic attack. Then you're worrying, then you're thinking, oh my God, something really is wrong. I've been fine. Now I'm having a panic attack. Is this the real deal? Is this where I drop dead from a heart attack? Guys, no. Your subconscious is still running that show because it lags behind your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is trying to do something that the subconscious isn't ready for yet. It takes habits, takes time. You got to get into a daily routine. Guys, make sure that you're getting your multivitamins, especially vitamin B6, vitamin B12. They are great mood stabilizers. They're going to help you with your brain chemistry also. Like I said, make sure you're writing in that journal. Exercise, diet, guys, positive affirmation, ASMR videos, meditation in the mornings and in the evenings. That's when you are close to your subconscious and you can have the greatest impact on your subconscious. Guys, I'm going to have some resources down below on how to defeat panic attacks. Also, please join my Facebook group for panic attack, depression, anxiety disorder support, health anxiety, social anxiety, whatever you got, guys, that has to do with anxiety or stress. Join that group down below. We're almost at 200 members. There's a lot of people in there that are going to help you, discuss your symptoms with you, give you support. It's just what the doctor ordered, guys. Literally, it's amazing. Also, follow me on Instagram down below and my other social networks, guys. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit that notification bell next to it so you can get updates whenever I have my videos out, guys. Like this video if you got some value. Also, let me know in the comment section down below, how long do you usually have panic attacks for? How long do they last? Are you a 5-minute panic attack type of person? Are you the national average of 20 to 30 minutes? Or are you like me, where you can have hours of panic attack symptoms? Just let me know down below. Hope you all have a good one, guys. Keep fighting.